So we have some people that are just on a telephone and listening in, and all of you are on the screen now. We're going to get started, and as we've done in the past, um, I'm going to let each of you introduce yourselves, and if you would just give your name, and if you represent or if you're part of an organization, just tell us what the organization is, and then we're going to have our guest speaker, and we'll have a little discussion after that. So my screen looks different than your screen. So I'm going to call you out by the way I see you on my screen. And the first one I see is Eric, Eric is the newest member of One Voice's Defender crew. So go ahead, Eric, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Pitaluga. Technically, I'm half Cuban American, but my father's father was 100% European, and my last name is of Genoese origin. I defend Columbus because I defend the narrative that it is a part of American history, and it should stand the way it is.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Next
Yep.
up is James.
My name is James P. Benassi, or Jim Pat in my family. I'm the president of the Italian American Association of Louisville, Kentucky, and I've seen this event on Facebook, and this is my first time to join, and I'm sure it'll be a good evening. Thank you all very much.
Well, we're glad you're here, James. You're the first person from Kentucky that we've had on in all of
Well,
our meetings.
we have a few Pajans down here.
All right. Glad to hear it. I'm going to look you up next time I come down there. That's great. Okay, next up is Kathy.
Hi, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I grew up in Cincinnati. I went to Anderson High School. We were the Anderson Redskins, and after winning this 5 times, we lost it in the middle of Zoom meetings right after the Washington Redskins went down. So it's been a long battle trying to bring this name back, and I'm hoping to get some positive news. But that's where we stand right now. My uncle was a football player for Notre Dame and was in the 1949 championship team.
Great, Kathy.
He was a starter for the 1949 championship team. So, and my dad was a football player for Notre Dame too. And I got into this following this debate really young. I've been probably almost 40, 50 years now. I've been following this debate.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Jerry, you're up.
Hey, good evening to the group. Andre, good to see you and all. My name is Jerry Carleo. I'm the chairman of the Colorado Italian American Foundation. I want to just share a real quick background with you. 1905, we dedicated the first Columbus monument west of the Mississippi. It still stands. It's one of the last few remaining west of the Mississippi. This is the 120th anniversary that we're going to be celebrating here coming up in October. Would invite all of you to come. I know it's difficult to travel, but I'm still extending the invitation to you. So I hope you have a great evening tonight.
Jerry, I wish I could be there. It sounds like it's going to be great.
It'll be fun.
Okay, next up, Miriam.
Miriam Restrepo from Westfield, Greater Westfield, Unico.
Thank you. Gene Genotti.
Yes, hello. This is Gene Genotti, as you said. I love the way you pronounce it. It's Yonotti, actually.
Janotti.
Yonotti. But I am the president of the Westfield Unico in Westfield, New Jersey, and I'm looking forward once again to pass along the information I learned here tonight to our members.
Great, thanks, Gene. Next up, Raphael.
Rafael Ortiz, I'm the writer of several books on Columbus, including Christopher Columbus the Hero.
Raphael is a great resource to anybody there that if you're having any events in October or anything and you need Raphael to support your position with respect to Columbus, he's an absolute great resource, and he's done a tremendous amount of research on everything related to Columbus. So Raphael, good to have you on again on the call.
Okay.
Anthony, back from Italy.
Cool. Just flew in today from Sicily and glad to be back. Anthony Benjavanga. I'm past national president of Unico National, and I'm also on Greater Westfield Unico, and I'm on the board of directors of Italian American One Voice.
Thank
and
you.
glad to be here supporting Columbus.
Very good. Martha, you're up.
Yes, my name is Martha Lanzalotti, and I'm not a president or chairwoman or anything of anything. But when I do tours of New York City, I make sure to tell the true story about Columbus when we're going past Columbus Circle. I'm also a member of One Voice.
Thank you. And by the way, if anybody sees Martha on Facebook, you can see what nice tours she does
Oh,
down by the old World Trade Center area and different areas. So if you get a chance, like Martha on Facebook.
thank you, thank you,
Sure.
thank you.
Okay, next up is Marianne. You're up.
Marianne Schick. I am a member of the Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, Vinciano Brothers Lodge in Port Jefferson, Long Island. I don't know how familiar anybody is, but it's about the middle of Long Island. I'm the financial secretary of the lodge, and I'm also the liaison to the commission, the New York State Commission for Social Justice. And I'm assuming that's how I got the email to join this group. It was the first time I was ever contacted or even knew that you met on Zoom. So I'm really anxious and glad that I joined you tonight to hear what you all have to say.
Well, we're glad that you're here, Marianne. And Port Jefferson is a beautiful town. I've been there many times.
Yes, it is.
And Sons of Italy, I know that John Fratta now just became the national president.
National president, yes,
which is great.
yes.
Yeah, very nice.
We haven't appointed the New York State yet.
That was going to be my next question. Okay.
Soon to Arthur Sperry is working on it. He's our new state president, and he will be appointing someone very soon.
Okay, great. Looking forward to knowing how that is. Okay, Frank, you're up. Cipolla.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Frank Cipolla. I spent 38 years as a radio and television reporter and anchor in New York City, and for the last 10 years or so, I have been the media liaison between the Italian American One Voice Coalition and the media. I make the connection that gets the Italian American One Voice Coalition on television, both in our market in New York City and elsewhere. And we fought many a fight, Andre and I and the group, in pushing back against this anti-Columbus rhetoric. So at any rate, I could talk some more, but I won't. And welcome to everybody. Great to see a terrific turnout.
Thanks, Frank. Jim Scanelli.
Yeah, hi, Jim Scanelli here. I'm a member of the Italian American One Voice Coalition, and also I'm a member of NAGA. Good evening.
Thanks, Jim. Robert Tart.
I'm a trustee of the Unico National Foundation, and I'm a member of Westfield Unico, and a member of the board of directors of Italian American One Voice Coalition.
Great. Thanks, Bob. Frank Lorenzo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Frank Lorenzo. I am the vice president of the Italian American One Voice Coalition. Look forward to hearing from everyone tonight.
Thank you, Frank. Dr. Ann.
I am Walco. Welcome, everyone. I'm also from the Greater Westfield chapter and a board member of One Voice.
Thank you. Josephine. You muted, Josephine. Still muted, Josephine. All right. Tara, you're up. Tara DeLeon?
I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania, Unico, and I'm happy to be here. I just got home.
Okay, great. Thanks. Garrett Phillips.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I was just trying to make sure. I don't think my video is on. I was trying to get it working. Yeah, I'm Garrett Phillips. I'm here just working as an assistant with you guys. As a fan of the Washington Redskins to try to help and provide insight and spread message for you guys. So I'm lucky to be here. Blessed to be here. So thank you guys very much for having me.
Well, thanks for being back on, Garrett. We appreciate it.
As always, thank you guys.
Sure. Next up, Stefan.
Hello, I'm Stefan Perez. I'm a California Indian, and I'm a filmmaker, and I'm currently working on a project that's basically about bridging cultures. And so I'm listening in on this. I've been following NAGA's social media, so I saw this, and I was made it to the last meeting too to listen in as well. So that's
Great,
fine.
Stefan. Glad you're here, and we're definitely bridging cultures here.
I'm sorry, I have a question real quick.
Sure.
What is NAGA? What is NAGA? I'm not familiar with that.
NAGA is the Native American Guardians Association.
Thank you. Okay.
Yep, no problem. Okay, a couple more people. Pat Santangelo.
Hi, happy to be here again. This is my third meeting. Thank you, Andre, for everything that you do, and good to see other people and hear other people.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to say I'm the president of an Italian Heritage and Culture Committee of the Bronx and Westchester.
The Bronx, very good. My wife's from the Bronx, so.
Oh, good.
Andre, can you hear me, Andre?
Yeah, now we can, Josephine, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's Josephine Mayetta from Long Island, New York. I'm an educator. I'm also the president of the Association of Italian American Educators. And I also produce and host a radio program at Hofstra University. I too teach the true history of Christopher Columbus, and I participate in the Columbus Parade every year since actually my college years. And I hope this thing will stop. That's it. This cancel culture will stop, really. And I'm looking forward to listening to all of you tonight. Thank you so much, Andre Dimino. Thank you, everyone.
Sure, thank you. Okay, now I saw Tommy. There he is. Tommy, you're up next.
Hey, Andrew. Good evening, everybody. Tom Damagella from Italian American Alliance and North End Historical Society. So I'm very happy to be part of this ongoing group.
Great, thank you. Okay, Eunice was supposed to be on. Unfortunately, she had a problem and it's not being able. Eunice was the co-founder and former president of NAGA, the Native American Guardians Association. And thanks to her, we have our guest speaker tonight. And so since she's not on, I'm going to introduce our guest speakers. Looks like we got guest speakers now. You got 3 people there. That's great. Thomas Whitecalf is actually a direct descendant of the chief that was used as the Redskins logo and emblem.
No.
And I have to tell you that Thomas has been doing a great job. Just recently had a editorial letter that was in the New York Post, and he's getting some very good pickup in different media and so forth. Frank, I don't know if you've seen it, but he's getting picked up now. So we're very pleased to have Thomas on our call and family, Thomas brothers and family. And now we're going to be able to hear directly from them about the Redskins controversy. So I'd like to turn it over to you, to the Whitecaps. Go ahead.
Oh, it's actually nice to be here. Nice to meet you all. Actually, Thomas Whitecalf. I'm the great nephew of John Two Guns Whitecalf, like you explained. I'll let my brother to the right introduce himself.
Yeah, I'm Christopher Whitecalf. I'm the youngest son of my mother. And Thomas is the oldest, so I run the social media side of our family.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Hi, I'm Delphine Whitecalf. John Two Guns, I'm the great grand niece. My grandpa and him were brothers.
Very nice. Well, we're so pleased to have all 3 of you on. And we know that obviously this is in the news. As a matter of fact, even driving home tonight, I heard the person on the radio was talking about bringing the Redskins back to prominence. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, Thomas, to give us the background and things you've been working on and the perspective directly from the family.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, bro. If you guys have any questions, just shoot. But it actually started out back in August of 2014 when the organization reached out to the family. Back then, I was contacted by Robert Rides at the Door. Robert Rides at the Door Jr. He was on our Native American board at the time. When Dan Snyder was the owner at the time. They're actually pretty stoked and excited that they reached out to an actual family member of John Two Guns Whitecalf. Because my mother Delphine Whitecalf is the only one that actually has the name on the Blackfeet Reservation. So he kind of reached out to us and said, he goes, you know what, I can't wait to get this back to Dan Snyder and the rest of the organization that I actually contacted an actual member. I said, well, Robert Dorr, you were kind of like just a grade ahead of me. So I said, just shoot, ask any questions you want. I'm actually here. He said, well, who's all? I mean, could you tell me a little brief history of your family? I said, sure. I said, I'm not the only. I said, there's a small group of us. There's actually 3 clans of three family clans that are actually tied into John Two Guns White Calf, and that's our great great grandfathers of the Wolftail family, the White Calf family, and the Crossguns family. They're actually all brothers. Our great great grandfathers are all brothers to John Two Guns White Calf. They're actually the four brothers. And I said, from what my great uncle, Chief Earl person, explained to me back in around the same time, I was like, I used to hear all these stories from all these stories from my elders, my great uncle, Chief Earl person, my great aunt, Carrie Old person, and actually my grandmother, Edith Young Redding Crane. And they heard it from their grandfathers. You know, this passed on from generation to generation to us. My uncle Earl said, well, back in 71, Walter Blackie Wetzel reached out to our organization, and he stated to them, he said, would you guys like to have a real Native American person as your guys' logo? I can design the logo. I can come with several photos. My great uncle Earl said the organization was all first said, well, he reached out to them. They said, well, you're more than welcome to come. So around 1971, he had a meeting with the organization, and he actually presented about 9 to 10 photos on this table-like surface, placed them all out. He told the organization, I want you guys to choose one of these photos, and I'll design a logo around that image, So they kind of looked around at the photos, and they kind of looked at John Two Guns. Every one of them just said, they just picked John Two Guns' photo and said, we want this one. That's why they called John Two Guns' photo the one that they went off of. They actually call it the most admired photo, because it was most admired by the Washington Redskins organization. So then that's how the birth of the logo became during that time. That's when Walter Blackie Wetzel actually he actually created a logo around our ancestors' image. And we do have rights to that photo. So, and ever since then, that's when the birth of John Two Guns was in effect with the Washington Redskins logo. Not talking about the U.S. Mint, the Buffalo nickel, the 1913 Buffalo nickel. He's also the image to that also. So, and he had a lot of rich history behind him. Actually, regarding the Buffalo nickel, back in that era, the U.S. government tried to discredit him from being the model for the Buffalo nickel because the U.S. government was afraid because of his influence with actually Burlington Northern, because of his influence with the Blackfeet tribe and other tribes, that they actually discredit him from being a model because they were afraid that he was able to start a war party. That's how that came about. So, and he was actually the most photographed Native American during that time in his era. So.
Right.
Wow.
Now, when did you learn about the fact, or how did you feel when they decided to pull the name and the logo?
Back then, I spoke to my Uncle Earl. We kind of all had a little meeting. We said, well, that would be great back in 2014 if Dan Snyder, back in that era, the Obama administration, Dan Snyder, Robert rides at the door because he's actually a Blackfeet member. He was working for the Redskins. We said, my uncle said, if we can have a seat at the table with the late Donald Wetzel Sr., he's the son of Walter Blackie Wetzel. My uncle Earl said, I said, that would be great if we used to have a meeting with Dan Snyder, Donald Wetzel, and the rest of the Washington organization, along with Obama, if they were willing to hear me out, because my uncle, they actually call him a walking encyclopedia. He knew Native American history. He knew Native American songs. He was a great chief. He met every president since Eisenhower up into Obama, actually.
Wow.
So he stated, if we can get a seat at the table with the Obama administration, Dan Snyder, we can make it right. And I believe that he wanted to straighten out the history with the organization and explain to Dan Snyder and the fans and the public who John Two Guns was and what great history he had. And that's actually regarding that's how my great uncle, Chief Earl Person, that's how he got this chieftainship, was from my grandfather. He actually got it from the White Cat family.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when they were actually the controversy about the name start to kind of rise up pretty deep back then, and it all that time when there were the Redskins, it was never an issue. It was never a problem, never an issue. It wasn't a slur. It wasn't racist, whatever. It actually brought honor because a lot of the Native Americans thought, wow, you know, it's all this whole time. I don't think we really spoke for ourselves at the time. We tried several times to reach out to the organization and reach out and say, hey, if we could just get the history out there behind this logo, behind the controversy, I think it will go away. And I think we could work something out with Dan Snyder. And my uncle said, I'd like to explain the history. If I get that opportunity, I'm going to explain, and I'm going to set this straight, the record straight. That it's not a. We were kind of neutral. We didn't want to mention anything about the name, but we said, well, if we could just, if they're willing to sit at the table, I could explain the whole concept, the whole rich history of everything like that. So, and we never was consulted with. When the logo was dropped with the name, we were, a lot of Native Americans felt bad. Like I say, over 90% said, what's going on? That was our team. Well, why didn't they listen to us? Why didn't they listen to the family? Why didn't they hear us out? I mean, there's like 90% of the Native American population that just disagreed with, and a very select few. They were saying, "Oh, it's a slur," blah blah blah. But a lot of them weren't even Native American that had a problem with it. Not the real Native American people that had a problem with it. They were okay with it. Most of the natives I talked with, they were all okay with it. So, yeah, we could say it was a little bit of disappointment because we weren't consulted with about the logo. We didn't get a chance to actually inform Dan Snyder of who John Two Guns was. My uncle never got the opportunity to sit at the table with the Obama administration to explain how we feel about it. They never consulted with us. They never gave us the opportunity to sit at the table or to explain to the public, the fans, and everything like that. Well, where we come from.
I mean, did you get any response from them? Was there, with all the reaching out that you did you get any response at all?
No response at all. Not even today. We tried several times. I thought there was a door open because Robert Dorr isn't a real member. We went to school together. He was only a grade ahead of me, so we were friends. I thought there'd be an opportunity because since he was in he was on the payroll, he was with the organization. I thought he would open that door for the family to speak, but we reached out to him and said, my uncle reached out. We said, we're here, we're willing, we're actually full-blooded Blackfeet Native Americans. We're not a mix at all. We're plum-paired Blackfeet. And so we attempted several times to reach out, and we were kind of like basically always put on the back burner, and it was always other people speaking for the family, mainly the Wetzels. And the Wetzels never had any kind of information about our family, For years and years, Robert Rides at the Door Jr. and the Wetzels were trying to find where we're trying to get out of us where John Two Guns White Cat's burial is, his gravesite is. But we never told him, we never disclosed it. And all the other people that were actually trying to claim descendancy, where they don't even know where his grave's at. I was like, if they were completely family, they would know. If they were family, they would know the history of what was passed down to us. My great uncle Earl Person, Chief Earl Person, the guy, he was a great chief, the last chief of the Blackfoot Reservation, who received the championship from the Whitecap family, told me personally back in 2014, he said, well, just keep trying. Don't do any kind of lawsuit. We know that there's compensation, that you guys are entitled to compensation. Do something civil, but he said, number one is get the history out first. Get the history of John Two Guns Whitecap, actually to the public, to the fans, to Washington. Let them hear your guys' story. And he said, he actually stated back then, he said, once this is out there, you guys are going to have a lot of people coming in trying to say they're come from the Whitecap, and that's
Right.
happening to this day,
Right.
So, and he was very correct on that. Like I said, he was Chief Earl Operson was a great chief. He was actually invited to other countries he was actually invited to other countries to Iran.
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 All of Iran.
The Shah of Iran invited him.
Wow.
He was the only one that was able to stand. Everybody else bowed to the Shah of Iran.
Really?
My Uncle Earl was in his true Blackfeet regalia.
Right.
So he got to stand with his war bonnet, and the Shah said that our chief didn't have to bow to him.
Very nice. So
Yeah.
where's the Blackfeet tribe located? So for everybody to understand.
Yes, the Blackfeet tribe is located like northwest of actually Montana, right next to Glacier National Park, at the border, the Canadian border. So we're right. We are the biggest tribe in Montana. There's actually 8 tribes in Montana that reside around the area of Montana, but we're actually the largest and biggest of the biggest Indian tribe of Montana, the Blackfeet Nation. Our
Okay.
other 3 bands of Blackfeet are actually up in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just the border that divides us from them, the Canadian borders.
And your great uncle, where was he located in there in Montana?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Great.
yeah, he wasn't John Two Guns Whitecap. He actually wasn't a chief. He was just actually labeled as a chief because he'd done skits.
I see.
For
The most photographed.
Yeah, he was photographed a lot.
Yeah, he was photographed a lot around the country. Who actually the chief was my great grandfather, Jim James Whitecap Senior was the actual chief, but because it was because Glacier National Park in Burlington Northern labeled John Two Guns Whitecap as the chief, but he was an actual chief. He was just a great warrior.
Okay, great.
Whitecap, I have a
I'm going to
question.
hold on. We're going to open it up for questions now, Thomas, if that's okay.
That's
And so
okay.
I'm going to ask Frank Sapolo will be first, but I'm going to ask everybody before you ask a question, if you could raise your hand. We have a couple of hands raised already. We're going to let Frank Sapolo go first. Then we'll go to Tommy and then Martha. So go ahead, Frank.
Thank you, Andre. So what was the reason? Were you ever given a reason why the Redskins decided to change their name? Did they meet with you and say, hey, we're going to do this, here is the reason?
Yeah, back then it was like I think it was in 2020. All those years prior to 2014, that's when the Redskins started to become a controversial slur with other activist groups or whatever were like saying, "Hey, man, that's a slur," this and that. And I was like, "No." And a lot of people were like, "Well, vote on it." I said, 90% of us don't understand why now it's a problem. All Native American tribes throughout the United States have real problems. We have a problem like we have other issues with alcoholism, drugs. The unemployment rate is like 80%. We have a lot of other stuff to worry about with our own reservations. To worry about just the name. That's what most of the reservations thought. Hey, we have our own issues. We have our own personal issues with our own tribe has other like housing shortages, water problems, whatever. We don't have time to worry about a name. It's a football team. It's not a slur. It's not anything like that. But like I said, I was like, if the organization back then would have consulted with us and set us at the table with them, we could have made it right. we could have fixed it and said, hey, let's I think to me that they really didn't want to reach out to the family. Was Robert Rise at the door? I got it in writing, but he actually told me by cell phone over cell phone conversations that if we were going to sue him, and I told him no, not we're not. That's not even what we're trying to pursue. I said, if anything, we want to get the history out. We want to get the history out to the fans because I think about 95%, 97% of the Washington Redskins fans did not know who John Two Guns was. They didn't even know the logo was a real Native American.
Right.
They thought it was just crafted, drawn up by somebody.
Right.
Yeah. So the Washington Redskins fans had actually no idea. So we thought we wanted to be given the opportunities. While my great uncle was with us back in that time, he wanted the opportunity to explain to Dan Snyder and the fans. Said you guys have a very powerful warrior. As your guys' logo. There's songs to go with him. There's a Rocky Mountain named after Whitecalf. There's a Whitecalf Mountain, and in the Rocky Mountains up there in Rocky Mountain Friend. There's all kinds of different history. There's he was on the U.S. Mint. He was a very like a special warrior. That very influenced. I mean, he got to go to New York, to the parade and all, and everything like that. And yeah, he was like so. They never did consult us when they dropped the name and logo at the time. Yeah, we were kind of upset, saying, "Oh, it was shocking when they actually done that." Like, oh, they actually dropped the name and logo. That's interesting. Well, are we going to get to meet them? We never got the opportunity up until we done the Fox News interview last September with Terry Bryan when he done that.
Yep.
And then after that was the first time the family got to speak, actually.
Okay,
To the media.
Let's go to Tommy now. Tommy, you're up.
Yeah, Tom, everything you're saying, I learned a lot from Eunice over the past several years. And NAGA has a misconception part of their website. And I think you're saying get the history out there. I learned a lot about where the name Redskin actually came from, how it's used within your particular group of people. There's a lot to be taught there. And you're right, you have to educate them. Not the fact that you're not upset about it, but why isn't it a slur? It's something that was part of your culture that was misconstrued and turned into a slur. You have to tell that whole story. And you've done a very good job of doing that on your website. And if everybody on this call, get on their website and learn more about the history of the Redskin. And one other thought I had, and I use it in conversations with people who think it should be eliminated, but they don't know what they're talking about. And when I educate them about it, they said, I didn't even know that. That doesn't make any sense then. And so they ended up taking your position. Well, they shouldn't have got rid of it. But you have to explain it that way. And secondly, Thomas, I'm curious because, the Redskin came from Boston, Massachusetts. The first team was the Boston Redskins. And I'm always curious, what was the logo back then that they had before the one you did in 1971? And how did they have a logo that was anything like the one that they ended up using in 1971, or was that a different logo that I'm not even familiar with because I can't remember?
Yeah, I think the one before the actual image of my uncle was just the R on the side.
Just the R.
Just the R. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Thanks,
I think
Tommy.
that's what you got to do. Okay, this is my suggestion for everybody. You learn about Redskins.
Okay, Martha, you're up. And then Stephanie afterwards.
Yes, thank you. And a lot of the questions that I had have been answered already. First of all, what disturbs me is that this whole thing was done in the back room and you had absolutely nothing to say. And it was your heritage, your family, that was really the harbinger of this name, the Redskins. I would also like your permission to post something on my social media account. And also, I have a client who focuses on baseball tours, and they go around the whole country and everything. So seeing all the different games and all. I would like to be able to send them information on what you just relayed to us so that they can pass it on, because word of mouth gets around. And they're from all over, not only the country, but also from Canada, from Europe, from everywhere. They come to all the different baseball games. So I would very much, with your permission, like to do that. So, I don't know how you want to do that. I can contact you or whatever, or contact Andre and he can tell me what to do. And the other thing is, I've been to Montana and I've been to the Glacier National Park, and I've been to the hotel there, the Glacier Park Lodge there. And when I walked in and saw that magnificent lobby, which was created by the Blackfeet Nation, I was absolutely just stunned. And this was before all this stuff happened with the Redskins and everything. So I just wanted to thank you for that. Absolutely beautiful area.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. You have our definite, you have our permission.
Great. And just let me know through Andre or whatever how to do it, because I will pass this on. It needs to get out there. It just needs to get out there.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
We're actually happy. It's getting out there as we speak.
Right.
Like I got posted with the New York Post.
Okay.
National Geographic got a hold of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've done an interview with Fox News as of yesterday and everything like that. And you just mentioned that you visited Glacier National Park.
Yes.
All the roads and the trails that go along the mountainside, so actually Logan Pass.
Yeah.
Those were all Blackfeet trails.
Oh, they call
it God's country.
It is beyond. Yeah. It's beyond beautiful. Beyond.
Our Blackfeet descendants used to hunt and fish on those trails throughout the Glacier Park.
Incredible. The hotel is to not be believed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you, and I will post it.
Thanks, Martha. We'll make sure that happens, Martha.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Stefan, you're up.
Hello. Thank the three of you for coming and speaking. It's interesting to not know about John Two Guns, and like a lot of the talk of like the Redskins logo and stuff like that, and sort of the hate for it comes from other Indians that are talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm kind of noticing, and as a filmmaker who is kind of, it feels a lot of like the same groupthink, and it's hard to keep control of a narrative when it's taken away. And so it's interesting to hear this, because I think that we've almost lost our agency with a lot of what's going on. So I kind of wanted to get your perspective on the current representation of like Native Americans in general, of like media, because we don't have too many legacy like images or icons like the Redskins that go back a long time that is now kind of being erased. So I'm wondering, like, what is your thoughts of like what is presented now in like media of Native American representation? If you have any sort of thoughts, or know people who have their own thoughts on it.
Oh yes, sir. We have like, now that the history is out there now, we're actually doing this interview with you guys. You guys are more than welcome to get this out there. I talked to the Blackfeet Tribal Business Council, Lyle Rutherford, as of yesterday. They actually promised to get one of the White Cat family members to Washington D.C. to have a meeting, like a personal meeting with Trump. We could present Trump with books, a lot of history documentation, a lot of stories, everything that actually pertains to John Two Guns White Calf. If we were able to, I just talked to Eunice before this. I said, Eunice, if I was to have a sit down with Trump and explain John Two Guns history and explain the whole 9 yards, I think we can make Washington football team great again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And back then, like I said, it was like John Two Guns wasn't the chief, but he was an awesome warrior, a Blackfeet tribal warrior, one of the main ones that they looked up to, one of the most photographed Native Americans on the U.S. Mint Buffalo head nickel, now the Washington Redskins logo. The correct term would have been the Washington Warriors. That would have been an awesome name. But Redskins, it doesn't matter to us. As long as John Two Guns' history is being told to the public and to the nation and worldwide, it's going in the right direction as of right now, as we speak.
Okay, great. And sitting right in front of the logo, Garrett Phillips. Go ahead, you're up, Garrett.
Hi, Thomas. How are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to ask you about that question. If there was any current things going on with like you were mentioning, like Trump, the Redskin organization at this time with the current ownership. Has there been any contact within that time since they have taken over that ownership? Have they been trying to reach out to pursue, like, in other words, instead of the logo, like, are you guys trying to put the logo out there for us? Like, are y'all trying to push it? Because as you can tell, when they tried to do it, they did it on a Sean Taylor t-shirt that's on their NFL shop if you haven't seen it. And they've made that logo really small. I don't know what and why they're doing that. Is that something like, have y'all been trying to be in communication? Like, hey, are you guys putting this out there for us? Because, and before you answer, it's because to me, when you were saying like the Warriors and, this name, like, I would say the same thing. But the thing is, I feel like if we bend to anything, if cancer culture has taught us anything, it's if we bend just a little bit for them, look at everything they've changed.
Mm-hmm.
And if we continue to ignore them being called the Redskins of what the history that was created, from natives, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but if it comes from that, then how are we living up to the purpose of educating and not eradicating?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's important for all that stuff to be reinstated, because if we continue to just push it aside, then everything native would just continue to get pushed away. Like, for instance, the name Blackfeet Tribe. Do we just push that away because it references Blackfeet because they don't know if that's Black American? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
in other words, if we give a little, they're going to take the whole thing in. Like, it really lived up to the name. So I think that, and I wanted to get your thought on that. Like, do you think that, like, that little cancel culture thing played a huge role in everything? And because I think it should all go back only because of statistically, because if we believe in that a little bit to go, oh yeah, we'll bend a little, they'll just get rid of everything and it'll just assist them with a further push to completely eradicate everything.
Yes, sir, completely. Like just like I stated before, like 90% of Native American population had no issue. They actually had no problem with the Redskins name. It's been the Redskins name since actually forever. Just up until like back in 2014, I think a lot of the non-Native Americans, people that were trying to pretend to be Native Americans, had a problem with it. But the real Native Americans, they had no issue with it. Like I said, we have more important issues that has to deal with all the Native American reservations. We have our drug and alcohol issues, unemployment rate, high unemployment rate, and all that. So I think Trump is doing a lot for us as we speak right now, because from what I heard from the Blackfeet Tribal Business Councilman, Lyle Rutherford, that actually President Trump supports the family and he supports the name and logo coming back. From the media, I heard that Trump is withholding the RFK Stadium until this gets all situated. So that's why we're trying to get to Trump as soon as possible to help him. Like I said, if our meeting, the White Cat family, and our meeting with Trump, we can make Washington football. We could actually make it great again, and we could bring a lot of the old stuff back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm praying that happens for you, because like I said, when I was younger, I was like anybody, oh, NFL football, but when it all started, I never had the thought of it until sometime after the Mark Rippon era, after their last recent Super Bowl, like, started to learn, like, oh, like you said, this wasn't just a logo drawn up, this is meaningful. And I started to learn, like, okay, well, I'm more into this than I ever was. And I'm proud to represent it all the time, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And I try to tell a lot of people, and it's good. And I hope you keep spreading your message out. And if you have any other information that can be very useful going forward, anything I can post on social media, I think I'm being followed by you, or is it Chris? Anything you guys can provide to me, that way I can make sure it's legit. I'd be happy to do that to help get that word out for you guys, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Okay, Garrett, thanks. Eric, you're up next.
It's more of a comment, and then I want to hear Mr. Whitecap's thoughts. Is that acceptable, or it has to be a question?
No, you can make a comment, sure.
All right, so I can relate to the cancel culture with other Indians trying to say that they're from the Blackfeet tribe, things like that, because, for example, people dispute me all the time on whether Peter Luger's Genoese or not, and I can give you websites from Genoa, heraldry websites that are contract with Roman and Italian state records that prove it is a Genoese name. People say it's a Spanish name. It means like a reference to Chupa mi blank Inga, like Peter Luga, if you get what I'm saying. People say nasty things about my last name, and it's really not true. And we all feel pain when nobody wants to accept other peoples who are different as human beings. So what do you have to say to that, Mr. Whitecap?
Oh yes, definitely. I definitely know where you're coming from.
We get it.
We definitely get it all the time. Like I said, a lot of the public, a lot of the American public, just speaking in general, when the Native American got modernized, we actually kept our last names. Our last names were meaningful. They came from a definition of what our actions were back then. Like if you take the last name Kicking Woman, if you take that last name, people say, "Oh, that's really a last name." Back in '90s, it was like something like a job corps center. It was up in Trapper Creek. That's west of Montana. They were kind of making fun of the last name. Said, right. That's real. You guys actually that's actually your guys' name. I said, yeah, it's our actual last name, birth certificate and all. I said, but what people don't know that there's actually history behind that last name. I said, it wasn't because it's an abusive. I thought, oh, your guys' ancestry used to kick women, I was like, no. I said it was actually our great grandmother. She used to when she used to get out of her teepee lodge every morning, she would kind of stretch her leg out. It looked like she kicked. So when the elders at the time said, we're going to name her, Kicking Woman.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. If you watch the movie Dances with Wolves,
right,
they seen, Kevin Dunbar dancing, like he was chasing the wolf at the time.
Yeah.
And those elders looked at and they said they gave him the name. That's how exactly that movie kind of explained a lot of how, Native American culture was during those races, days of the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't know, prior to the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2010s up to now, out of all the ethnic groups, the Native American men and women they have a higher rate of men and women who enlisted into the armed forces.
That's how most of us got our Indian names.
Yeah.
Most of us got our Indian names like my Indian name is like Kit Fox Woman. That was my grandma's name, so I inherited it that way. But most of the natives got their Indian names of what they do. The elders watched their children, and they gave them an Indian name. But as of us, we lost the culture of speaking our language. We do have some words we can say and some words we can't. But as we went down, like from my mother on down to us, we don't know our language anymore. My mother did, but we don't.
That's too bad.
And so they're trying to bring it back, but they go from Canada. But see, Canada speaks different language from us, but it means the same thing.
Okay.
And so that's how the Indian people got their Indian names. And mostly by watching you.
Okay, we're getting close to the end of the hour, so I'm just going to let Tommy make the one comment that he gave me in the chat, and then we're just going to go to one other issue before we close off the meeting. Go ahead, Tommy, if you just want to make a statement.
Thomas, what I suggest, that this is, again, I'll go back to Eunice, etc. The group that you have to deal with is not just the whites who decided that it's a racial slur. There's the National Congress of American Indians, which are on record for strongly opposing this name and consider it a racial slur. So you have that issue with the 10% that maybe thinks that this name should not come back. So you have to deal with that group. They have got the megaphone somehow that has got the attention of the organizations and anybody that can make these decisions. So they think they're speaking to other Native Americans who feel that the name should not be kept. So that's who your enemy is too. And you've got to identify them and bring them to the surface and have this debate with them and find out where their political reasons are. And this is what I understand. It has to do with political purposes that they take this position. So do you know about them at all? Have you ever heard of them, Thomas?
Oh yes, most definitely. I actually caught wind. I actually caught word of this organization back in 2010, 2014. I think she was a Black Cloud. She might have been from the Navajo Nation. I can't remember, but she was kind of heading this thing at the time. She never gave up the fight because a lot of the people were like she was taking it to the White House, taking it to Congress, whatever she was trying to do. And she was kind of gaining recognition back then. It was just a tiny small group of people, of Native Americans, maybe the 8%, maybe probably the 10%. Some of our own members was like, he was on CNN. His name is Joshi Rossi. He was like a Native American advocate against the Redskins name. Who he's one of our own, but he had no idea of the history behind John Two Guns White Calf. And then it come to after the fact, after they dropped the name and logo, it come to the fact where his mother ancestors were trying to claim White Calf and try to say John Two Guns was their grandfather, which was incorrect. A lot of people on the Blackfeet Reservation, our own reservation, to be honest, had no idea of the history of John Two Guns White Calf. Up until Fox News dropped the story last September before the opening NFL season. And a lot of the people were saying, man, I've been Blackfeet all my life. Redskins was my team. I didn't know the history behind John Two Guns White Calf. A lot of people said it wasn't him. I said, we all, and we're kind of getting a lot of enormous support. Like my uncle said, back in 2014, he said, when this gets out, you're going to have people changing their perspective of what they see in the logo and the Redskins name. We're getting enormous claims like, say, oh, John Two Guns was our grandpa. You guys are our relatives.
Right.
You got to take them on, Thomas. You got to take this other group on.
Yeah, definitely.
And discredit them. We have Italian Americans that actually form a group and they bring them to the hearings and they call Italian Americans against Columbus.
Yeah.
And they use them to fight against us. And they say, we got an organization. Yeah, they get 50 people and we got thousands, but they get the voice and they listen to the politicians take them on. So you got to identify who you're dealing with. And it's just a tactic that you have to start thinking about.
I'm just going to go. Kathy raised her hand. That'll be the llast comment before we wrap up.
Yeah. So 50 years ago, I started following this, and I used to listen to Susan Schoen Harjo's first ever Native American radio talk show, broadcasting from the top of the Empire State Building. It was her who started all this. She felt she hated the Redskin name. She felt she had been discriminated against, and this was her vendetta to take down the Washington Redskins. And she teamed up with Amanda Blackhorse and other people, and we think Soros and a number of bad characters. And this is where we're at today. But I mean, I literally listened to her. She had a show. This was a national radio show I could pick up in Cincinnati.
Wow.
And she was vile. She was just so full of hate and just, she hated white people. It was awful.
Thomas, I just want to tell you that you've got the support of all the Italian Americans that are here and the thousands of people that we represent in the different organizations. So very pleased that you came on the call. If you could just stay on, I have to tell you, this is the first time we're going over our hour, but You were so
Okay.
interesting. I think it was okay for us to go over our hour, but we're going to just go a couple of minutes over our hour because I do want to bring up a couple of other things. Just want to tell everybody, this is our meeting in August. We're not going to have the next meeting until the end of September, but you know what happens right after Labor Day. All the silly stuff about Columbus starts happening. We start to get all the calls from around the country trying to get rid of Columbus Day, Columbus statues, and so forth. So of course, Frank Cipolla, as our media person, he alerts us to these things, and we try to go after them. But I would like to ask everyone on the call, if you hear of anything locally, please send me an email, and then Frank will look at the media in that area and see what we can do to get to get media coverage of our opposition to the opposition of Columbus. So, be sure, just, you have my email address, andre@iaovc.org. Please, now, as I said, the silly season's coming up. So if you hear anything about Columbus, let us know. And then I'm going to take a little point of personal privilege here. I have a couple of photos to show you. And I'm not saying it because it was, but I'm doing this because Sunday was my birthday.
I was going to say happy birthday. I
Happy
saw it on
birthday.
Facebook.
Happy
birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Andre.
Thank you. And I took a day trip with my wife to someplace I've never been before. And I just want to show you some photos.
Uh-huh.
You really got us curious now.
That's what I figured, yeah. So let me just go back here. It's called Lake Mohawk. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Lake Mohawk.
Yep.
Lake
Yeah, so
Mohawk.
Oh, yeah,
Lake
absolutely. Yeah.
Mohawk. It's
Country
in
club.
Sparta, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I never heard of it before, but somebody told me about it. Obviously named after the Mohawk tribe.
Yep.
And what it is, it's a private area. It's a private area where they took farmland. It's about 2,000 acres, and they put about 800 acres, and they flooded a pasture and made a lake. And so it's one of the I think it is the largest man-made lake in New Jersey.
Mm.
And here's the history of it. If you read, I won't read it now, but I want to just go to this slide here, because the street is called White Deer Plaza. And so you got the white caps on the phone, and we got the white deer on the screen.
Yeah.
It says White Deer Plaza is named in honor of the Mohawk Indian princess, Princess White Deer, who renewed her dedication to at the 10th anniversary. And her comment is on the bottom, which was thought was very nice. The Great Spirit was kind. He heard the voice of White Deer. This valley of my people is now the valley of your people, and your flag is now my flag. Therefore, I raise this emblem over Lake Mohawk and ask again that you continue here in health and happiness, and that you enjoy great peace. Now, the lake was formed in 1927, and so she said that in 1937.
Mm-hmm.
Here's just to give you an idea what the lake looks like. So it's got a nice, there's all homes around the lake. This is a private area. But what's even more interesting is White Deer Plaza is made in kind of a German motif. So you can see here the stores.
Oh, how interesting.
The shops have all a German motif. And you can see a bunch of different stores, lots of restaurants and little shops.
Oh.
Very interesting.
Now, what part of Jersey is this?
It's in Sparta, New Jersey, which is in Somerset County.
Oh.
And it's actually only an hour from my house, and I never heard about it, and I've lived here for 50 years. So. So they have a little boardwalk that's got a number of stores and stuff. But the last slide is the slide I wanted to make everybody see, because here's again an intersection. There's a Columbus Road.
Oh wow! Oh boy!
Lake Mohawk.
We're gaining on them.
That's right. That's right.
Big Nose has got a Spartan soldier. Right? Yeah. But that what she said at that last statement, Andre, is such a contradicting statement that we just heard from the Democrat National Convention, where they started with, "We are having this convention on stolen land."
Oh God!
And this is again where they constantly have people going like this.
Yeah,
Native Americans. Her statement was beautiful. My land is now your land. Your flag is now my flag. And bringing people together to share what we are today. Because what are you supposed to do? Give the land back? Start another war? It doesn't make any sense. So I just loved her statement. It was beautiful. Look, if you could print that out for us, Andre,
Sure.
I think it really resonates with the right attitude.
Sure. No, and listen, that's what we've been doing on these solidarity sessions. Unfortunately, Eunice couldn't be on the call, but for those of you that didn't know, back in March of last year, after Tommy had made a connection with NAGA, back in February of last year, I had a meeting in Scranton, Pennsylvania with about 8 Italian American groups, and actually Eunice flew in, and that's where we kind of had our first public presentation of this unity that we're forming between Italian Americans and Native Americans. And then it was Tony Henson, who was the new president of NAGA, that said, we should have a regular meeting on this. So we started these solidarity sessions last March. We've had it every month except for last December. We took a Christmas break. Listen, the more we know about each other, like we learned tonight so much from the Whitecap family, that's what we need. We got to unite. We have to unite together. We've got to be together and stop this division that they're trying to foster in this country. Let's continue on.
Andre, just a quick note here.
Sure, go ahead, Frank.
If real quick, I would love
Frank,
you.
Hold on, Frank Ferraro. Frank Ferraro.
Yeah, thanks. Real quick on Columbus Day. For people in northern Massachusetts, southern New Hampshire, the Friends of Italian Americans are hosting a Columbus Day breakfast in Manchester, New Hampshire. We have the governor, the mayor, and we're going to be honoring a proud Italian American for his 50 years of service, public service to the state of New Hampshire, Lou D'Alessandro. And we are also having our 3rd annual Columbus Day breakfast in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So it's an open invitation. We just asked for an RSVP, and we're trying to, through Lou D'Alessandro, he was senator at the time, we got the amendment to House Bill 1014, which requires every municipality and school in New Hampshire as a holiday on the 2nd Monday in October. They have to call it Columbus Day.
Right.
Yeah, but Frank, tell him how you got that passed. It was very clever. He didn't say just Columbus Day. He said every federal holiday must be recognized.
Well, the way it reads is any municipality or school that has a holiday on the day that the state has a holiday has to call it the name that's in state law. And state law lists the 2nd Monday in October as Columbus Day. But it also applies to Christmas and
That's right.
holidays.
So they have to put it on the calendar because it's a state law. So that's something people should learn from. I think it's a great tactic, Frank.
And Frank Ferrara, just to let you know, when the New Hampshire legislature did that, the Italian American One Voice Coalition put them in our Hall of Fame. So we were pleased to see that. It made nationwide news. Frank Cipolla?
Yeah, real quick. We have over the years attempted to reach out to the more popular Native American radio shows and blogs and so on and so forth. They've rebuffed us, even though I have indicated to them this would be a beneficial discussion and in no way acrimonious, but they have somehow don't want to talk with us. If Mr. Whitecap or his friends and colleagues can get us on a radio show to begin a discussion that Native Americans would hear, then that would be wonderful, because we could start getting in there and they would realize that we want to have a bona fide discussion about how we're more the same than different. If there's anything you can do in that regard, be our emissary on behalf of the Italian American One Voice Coalition, let me know.
Yeah, Andre.
Yes, Robert.
Westfield Unico is having its annual Columbus Day ceremony on October 12th. At the Westfield, it's across from the Westfield Municipal Building in the Mindowaskin Park. Everyone is invited. There's no cost. Anyone who's near Westfield, we'd love to have you come.
They asked me to be a guest speaker there a couple of years ago. It's a very nice event, Robert. Robert does a great job with that every year.
And
okay,
just one thing, like you said, like you had Eunice at your occasion.
Yes.
This May we had Mark Wunwolf. As our special guest in Massachusetts, and he was received wonderfully from our Italian American audience to hear someone speak from NAGA with his point of view about cancel culture. And it was, again, another educating firsthand experience. So if you do something in the future, think about reaching out to NAGA and find somebody that might be in your state that they could be a speaker at one of your events. That's how I found out. Eunice connected me to him. So they have relatives and people all over the country that you might have right in your backyard. So I encourage you to pursue it and talk to Tony Henson or Eunice Davidson. They have a great network. Okay.
I'm a NAGA rep also.
Oh, great, Kathy.
I forgot to say that.
All right.
There you go.
Well, Thomas, just to let you know, this is the first time we've gone over an hour. We broke my IBM rule of only having. That's how interesting it was, and we appreciate that you came on. Also, everyone, this meeting has been recorded. We'll be posting it on our YouTube page. I'll let you know when it's posted. And if anybody, just like Robert and Frank spoke about their events, if you have anything, obviously with Columbus Day coming up, if you have anything you want sent out to the group, I will send it out with the email that talks about the recording. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Have everyone have a good end of the summer. We appreciate you all being on. And thanks again to our guest speakers for being on with us. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you. And
Thank
happy,
you,
happy
Andrew.
Thank you.
birthday.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
Andre. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Labor Day.
Check your
Pleasure talking with
messengers.
all of y'all.
Good night.
Good night. Buonanotte.
Hi,
Ciao, ciao.
everyone.
Thank you.
Ciao,
Thank you,
ciao.
Thomas. Thank you,
Good night,
Thomas.
everyone.